Cool. So I am Missy Owen. I am the clinical director at our Palm Bay campus. So today I'm going to focus on anxiety, ASD, and then PDA, understanding the reason behind the behaviors. So I just want to start off by saying, because I am talking a lot about like anxiety, the ASD, the PDA. I by no means am I a psychologist. I don't do diagnosis. This is just research I've done on my own, experience with the kiddos based on the past 12 years. Just keep that in mind. I like to think I'm right, but So to start, this is going to be quick. I just want to go over what autism is. So as we know, pretty much everyone in here knows what autism is, but this is the technical diagnosis from the DSM. So the DSM is that diagnostic manual that we follow that tells us the criteria to get that diagnosis. So with autism, one of the first things they look at is deficits in social communication and social interactions across multiple contexts. Another one is those restrictive and repetitive patterns of behavior, those fixations on certain things, obsessions on topics, people, anything that it could be in that given moment. And then lastly, they have to start from a childhood. It's not something that, the kiddo goes all the way up to age 10, pretty quote unquote normal, and then all of a sudden something changes and now we're starting to see those autism traits. So if that was the case, very unlikely you would get the diagnosis of autism because they do want to see that from an early childhood level. Also, they have to be clinically significant behaviors. Especially this day and age, we know everyone has their quirks. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing. So it has to be clinically significant that it impairs you from doing something or it impedes you from being in school, going to the mall, joining like a gymnastics class or something like that. So also anxiety. So this is something, especially this day and age, it seems to be coming up a lot more, anxiety. So this also I took from the DSM. These are the criteria that a psychologist or whoever does a diagnosis would be looking for in order to give that diagnosis of anxiety. It's definitely something throughout the day, everyone has feelings of anxiety, of being anxious. But in order to have an actual diagnosis of it, it has to be, once again, more consistent to that clinically significant level that it impedes you or impairs you from living life, essentially. So with this, I do have a couple of videos, just in case anyone hasn't felt anxious today. One of these videos should make you feel that way. Get started off good. So this is number 1. No, that's hands down my least favorite. No. Oh, this smart on this side. Little spider friends. Also, no thank you, but I can tolerate these better.
Isn't that funny? Like, nah, no thank you.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's not
Exactly. Unless it's one of those giant tarantulas in some cave,
Exactly.
You should be safe. Oh, then this one.
Want to get up and go study a subject or go to work or go out and hang out with your friends.
I don't understand why people do this for fun. I do not get it. No, thank
That's all.
you.
This is our way of living.
Like that you have to breathe out to be
It is
able to
not
move
our way
forward.
of dying. It is our way of destroying shirts. But
So for anyone who hasn't watched The Office, in that episode, Michael Scott, Steve Carell, he had promised all these kids back in 3rd grade that in 10 years from now, when they graduated, he would pay for all of their colleges. That was not the case. So that was him finally going to the school and then them all celebrating, saying, hey, you're paying for college. And no. Yeah, that's one of the more cringy episodes, so I had to get that social anxiety going. But yes. So with this, as we just saw the videos, these are some of the 4 most common triggers that can cause anxiety. Most common. So even when we saw amongst us, not all of those were triggers that would cause us anxiety. So it's always something to keep in mind with our kiddos is that it could be something that you wouldn't think could cause them anxiety does make them anxious. So always to keep in mind, it's not, oh, that's cool. That things are different. So that's going to be jumping into one of the main things I wanted to talk about, which is PDA, Pathological Demand Avoidance. So this is something, it is not currently a diagnosis that you're going to find in the DSM or the ICD, which is the International Classification Diagnostic, something along, oh, got it right, yes. I'm trying to memorize that one. But looking at the definition of it, it fits some of our kids better than that autism diagnosis. So hopefully it actually will become a diagnosis one day. I know they've been doing a lot of research on it. In general, this is bigger in the UK than it is here in the United States. So hopefully, we're going to bring it over soon. So with PDA, some of the main, characteristics of it are going to be on the screen. So one of them is that the kiddos resist and avoid those ordinary demands of life. So it could be brushing your teeth, getting dressed, going grocery shopping, which I'm sure, who likes going grocery shopping?
Yeah.
1, 2, okay, 2, okay, we got 2 people. It's not anything anyone likes to do, but with people who have PDA, just that causes so much anxiety, the lengths that they'll go to avoid doing this. That's what we're going to be talking about a bit. With the avoidance, a lot of it goes into social manipulation. Like with our kiddos, for example, if they don't want to do that reading worksheet, then all of a sudden, oh, my stomach hurts. I need to go to the bathroom. Oh, I need a walk. Can I have a break? Oh, on my walk, let me stop by Miss Jess's office. Hey, let me draw your picture real quick. By the time they make it back to class, they successfully avoided it. Persons who have PDA, they typically are very smart as well. So they can just twist and maneuver things around to get their way. Another one is that on the surface, they appear social. The first time meeting them, you're kind of looking at them like, why? You're fine. This is totally normal. We can have a conversation. We make some jokes. But once you actually get into it and get to know the kiddo and really talk to them more, you're starting to see, okay, I'm seeing a lot of repetition. We're talking about the same thing. Oh, you kind of go to those same phrases, very surface level and not really those more complex communication skills, social skills, they're missing. As far as the mood, impulsiveness, need to control is going to be the main thing with these PDA kids and adults as well. That need for control is more powerful than anything else. We can do all the reinforcement we want, the token economies, the earn systems. The control matters more than anything else. And control is hard because that's such an internal feeling and it's going to be different based on the day, based on the time of day, the class that you're in, the situation, the people around you. So it's very hard to try to conceptualize one standard definition of what control is. It's going to look different for all of us in every situation, basically. Another one which is interesting, is that these kiddos can often be very good at role playing, at pretending, which on the autism side of things, we typically don't see that as much. But the kiddos with PDA, we do see a lot more of that role play and pretending, which then leads more into like the social manipulation, a lot of masking that's happening. Also, a thing that's common is obsessive behavior. They can often become very fixated on a specific person. I've definitely seen this before. Like I said, not a psychologist. I don't diagnose. No one actually has this diagnosis. But I like to think I know a couple kiddos that's you, man. And with them, there's typically that one person, that person, if they're in the room, the kid's absolutely perfect. We have no issues. Everything's fine. That person's not in the room. We're looking at a different kid right now. So, like I said before, it's not actual diagnosis yet. So currently it is lumped under, at least when people talk about it, the umbrella of autism as a certain profile of autism. So like I was saying before, it is similar to autism. It can have some relations to ODD, to ADHD, epilepsy. There is some research linking the two of them together, which also is like autism. It's rare that a kiddo just has that autism diagnosis. They typically have autism, ADHD, something else along with that. Same with PDA before they said they did diagnose it, is that's typically not the only diagnosis. There's other things mixed in there. But as I said before, a lot more research is needed to actually make that official. Hopefully. So now to get into more specifics. So with the demand avoidance, so this is going to be something like I was saying, it's just the extent that these kiddos will go to escape or avoid that demand. I don't need that yet. I had a slide. So it could be, I know an example I saw online was that a kiddo, wakes up in the morning, brushes their teeth, goes about their day just fine. On Friday, they've been earning to go to Disney. Make it through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday morning, they wake up. They had a bad dream that night. They're already feeling a little bit anxious. They don't even want to go to Disney anymore. But they know, hey, it's been hyped up all week. Parents already took the day off of work. They already told school, hey, we're not coming in today. It's a big deal, which also puts more pressure on the event, heightens the anxiety. So in the moment, the kiddo's like, nope, I'm out. I'm done. This is too much. I can't handle it. I don't want to go to Disney. Parents are like, you realize we already bought the tickets. That's like $500. We took time off of work. You're using PTO. We're going to Disney. Come on, it's Disney. What are you saying right now? But then, in order to avoid it, the kiddo then goes in, destroys their bedroom, breaks the TV, runs out of the house. So now, well, based on these behaviors, okay, now we're not going. So they do avoid it. So it's something that over time, it's going to become what we call a behavior trap. Is that the kiddo learns, if I go to this extreme length, it ends up working and I avoid the thing I don't want to do. So that's going to be a key component of the PDA. It's just that extreme lengths that kiddos will go to when that anxiety kicks in to avoid whatever is the cause of that anxiety. So that was kind of tangent. But with the demand avoidance, demands don't always have to be verbal demands. It could be you walk into a classroom, like at our classroom in Palm Bay, we have our expectations up on the board. Stay in your seats, eyes on the teacher, listening ears. That right there is a demand. It's telling the kids what to do. If they're already feeling that sense of anxiety, it could be no one said anything to them. They walk in class every day, put their backpack away, sit down. All of a sudden today, they happen to look at the board, read what that sign says. Nope, I'm done. I'm walking out of class. Little things like that. Demands can also be external. So it's someone tells you to do something. You read a sign on the wall. Or it could be internal. Back to the grocery store example. Internal, yeah, no one told me I have to go grocery shopping. I just know, yeah, that's something that we have to do. I know when I'm in the classroom, I have to sit. I have to do my work. I have to listen to the teacher. So those demands were not always thinking it's a demand, but you know it's that expectation in the back of your mind. So with some of our kiddos as well, just over time, those demands build up until it gets to that point, anxiety kicks in too much. Nope, I'm done. I'm out. It's time to avoid. And like with the Disney example, the avoidance could be to the detriment of the kiddo themselves. Like, who doesn't want to go to Disney? This is what you chose to earn all week long. But when the anxiety kicks in, nope, I'm out. I don't care. Right now, the escape is more powerful than the reinforcing value of Disney to me. And like I was saying before, the demands, it can vary based on the environment, the people present, the current anxiety levels. It could be that, you have your safety person. This is your go-to. If they're in the room, anxiety immediately goes down. So you can handle more. You can tolerate it better. That person's not there. My level's already here. It takes one little thing to put me up there and gone. So a lot of the kiddos that have these PDA profiles, they're the type that we would call those Sour Patch Kids. They can be as sweet as can be, the nicest kids ever. You have a rapport with them. You can have some inside jokes. But when they get sour, they can get sour. Very much so. These are going to be the type of kiddos that maybe the parents, the teachers, other staff members, their peers feel like they have to walk on eggshells. It's like, oh, I know if I pick up the marker and I use this color on the board, little Johnny there, he's going to lose it. Okay, let me just avoid that. We're going to use blue instead. But it's always trying to be one step ahead of what the kiddo's going to do. Trying to think if this was a trigger, this could be a trigger. How do I avoid this? How do I get one step ahead? Things can get out of control very quickly. It's like, hey, we just changed the movie. We had a timer going for 5 minutes. Every single day at 12 o'clock, the movie gets turned off. It's 12 o'clock. Why are we so upset this time? Why are you now flipping the desk and having to get removed from the classroom? What's happening? Little things like that. And one day, an activity can go just fine. Like that, every single day this week, we handled turning the movie off at 12. We know that happens. That's nothing new. Today, it matters. And that's going to be a trigger that can then cause this blowout. So ABA-wise, we always look at what's the antecedent, what's the consequence, what's the history of this behavior, what's the function, like why are they doing this? Sometimes, we kind of look at each other like, I don't know. There's no logical reason as to why that happens. That could very well be, hey, the kid was feeling anxious. They already were at a heightened level that day for whatever reason. This came on, this happened. Usually it can tolerate it. Today they couldn't. Those internal things. And that's definitely one deficit in the field of ABA is that internal emotions, we tend not to do too much with them. Because we focus on those observable behaviors, things that we can track and measure. If something's happening internally, we can't read minds. I know what you tell me, but Dr. House, everybody lies. So you can only trust so much with that, which definitely makes that tricky as well. With the obsessive behavior, these kiddos, like the kiddos on the spectrum as well, they have their fixations. PDA kiddos, they typically always have something that they're hyper-focused on. Like I said, oftentimes it is a person, real or fictional. It could be a movie character. We got our Woody and Buzz, they're our go-to. We love them. I can tell you every fact about them. When those movies came out, when this one was made, how much that original cost on eBay, I can tell you everything. Also, relationships with these kiddos, they typically try to control the other person in their life. We see it a lot with kids and their parents, that the kids try to control their parents. And, kids know their parents very well, just as parents are experts on their kids. Kids are often experts on their parents as well. They know how to make them get that control. They know how to guilt trip. Most of us when we were kids, if I wanted to go hang out with my friends on the weekend, I know if I asked my mom in front of my friends, she was going to say yes. I was going to get a lecture about the next day, but I knew if my friends were present, she would say yes. But I know, hey, if they weren't present, there's a very good chance she says no. So I'm going to be like, can I guess? Let's go and ask. Little things like that. But with the PDA kiddos, it's every day, every instance. Just that need for control is all encompassing. And play activities with peers. We see this a lot with our kiddos on the playground. Hey, you know what? If little Johnny, if he's the one running the show and everyone's playing exactly how he wants to do, that kid turns into a zombie. That one has that magic power. This guy somehow becomes Spider-Man. Everything's great. But now all of a sudden we have little Susie comes along and she's like, man, no, I want to play princesses. I want to be a unicorn now. Nope. Not going well. We're seeing a meltdown. We're seeing something. The game's over. So with this as well, PDA, what can it look like with kiddos? And I should note as well, all of the information I'm talking about with PDA, it comes from the PDA Society. It's a website, if you just Google PDA Society, it's a UK website. They have a lot of information on there. It's a nonprofit. They have trainings. They have different webinars that they've posted. They have information on persons, who fit the PDA profile, kids, adults, and what their experiences are, and them kind of giving their own input. So like I was saying before, with the PDA, a lot of the times these kiddos are talkative. They're the kids that you can have that rapport with, that you can have those jokes with. Especially when they're feeling that calm and safe. You kind of question, like, why are you here right now? Like, autism, I'm not seeing it. But then in those moments, you can see it. And their debating skills and negotiation, these kids don't have to be taught that. They have it. You try and tell them, like, hey, we just have to do this worksheet, we can move on. Well, what if we do 2 lines of the worksheet, then we move on for like 10 seconds, and then we do that. Let's just get it done, and we can all move on with life. They always try to negotiate, which by negotiating, that's a means of getting control in those situations that we don't have control. We see this a lot of the times in school because, school, we have regulations, we have classes, we have assignments that have to get done. we try to give the kids as much as control as possible, but at the end of the day, certain things just the kids won't have control over. So especially the PDA kiddos, that's why school can be hard. It can be challenging because that's just that much control that they don't have. And it's consistently not their control. So they know walking in, oh, this is another situation. I have to sit there, do whatever Miss Jess tells me to do. I don't have a choice. Out of my hands. And that can already heighten that anxiety. And then we see the behaviors to try to escape that situation and setting. So now to get into some strategies that have been helpful, at least reportedly, for the PDA behaviors. Also, based on my experience, this is what helps. You know, with a classic ABA style, we go in, we place a demand, we follow through with it. We have our visual schedules out. We have our token systems. Everything is set out, expectations. With the autism population, that typically works. Those kids like the structure. They like to know what to expect. With the PDA kiddos, that is something that's not their control. We made the schedule. They didn't make the schedule. So with that, offering choice as much as possible is helpful. Like, hey, you know, what do you want to do first? The math worksheet or the reading worksheet? If that's an option, try to give those a little bit of choice. Do you want to use the mechanical pencil or the lead pencil? Do you want the pencil that has the pink eraser or the green one? Just try to give them a little bit of choice. It gives that control to try to reduce those anxiety levels so that they can actually sit and attend and learn. Pick and choose your battles. Just this past Monday, one of my kiddos that I would peg as having PDA, I knew she came in sick. I told her RBT, if it's possible, let it slide. If it's not a big safety concern, if it's not disruptive, I don't care, just let it slide. You know, it's already going to be at this seat. We don't need to push it over. We want everyone to make it through the day. Pick and choose your battles is so important. It's like, hey, if you want to fight the fight, make sure it's worthwhile. Make sure it's consistent. But if not, you can let it slide, let it slide. Using the indirect versus direct language. You know, so instead of going up and saying, hey, Johnny, in 10 minutes, you got to turn that computer off. It's time to go home. Okay, everyone, in 10 minutes, we're going to be out in the cafeteria to line up. That way, they both mean the same thing. Either way, in 10 minutes, the transitioning is happening, but I'm not directly saying in 10 minutes, your computer's getting turned off. So it's like, hey, 10 minutes, we got to be out here. In order to be out there, that has to be done. Just those little things. Another thing that can be helpful is turning demands into challenges. So, you know, if we have a kiddo that's trying to complete a worksheet, hey, let's see if you or Bob, who's going to finish this first? Let's make it a challenge. Who's going to get more right? Who can be the first one to clean up their stuff and get in line first? Make it more fun. In that way, it seems less of that demand. It seems more like a fun thing, not, oh, once again, this is me inserting my will upon you that you will do this. Remain neutral as much as possible. So this aligns very much with what we do with ABA is that, yes, you have to stay neutral. As we know, like a lot of the heart math and stuff that Pam's been talking about coming up next with Dr. Manny, we know that if you kids up at this level, if you meet them at that level, it's only going to increase. So if someone's at this level, we have to come in lower to hopefully bring them back down. There could be some situations that everyone's sitting in class, it's fine. All of a sudden, someone comes in super anxious, super hyped up. Everyone can feel that. That's already going to trigger some kids. That's going to set this guy off. So remaining calm and neutral as much as possible. Also, oftentimes, these kiddos, the control kiddos, they like that fight. They want the battle. Say that's a chance to win. It's a chance to get their control over you. So the more you fight, you're going to lose. I tell my staff that all the time. As soon as you get into an argument with a kid, you're already lost. It doesn't matter if, yes, in the end, they agree with what you said. They did the worksheet. That whole 30 minutes you guys were fighting, they won that entire time. Yeah, they did what we wanted, but who cares? They just won significantly more than we did. Avoid excessive praise. So, which this is weird because in ABA we're like, yes, we praise everything. Good job sitting. I like how you used kind hands. Good job raising your hands. With the PDA kiddos, as soon as I say, I like how you're sitting nicely, now she knows that's the expectation. That's how she should sit. So moving forward, she has to always sit like that or she's not going to get that praise. There's been some kiddos I've seen before that I put in their plans, you do not praise them for compliance. Do something else that's reinforcing. Make a silly sound. Maybe just do a little dance. Drop something on the ground. Make them laugh. They think it's funny, which that is, like I said, opposite of ABA in a sense. We praise all the time. But with these kiddos, praise sets at expectation level. Nope. Reward systems, if you do use them, get the child involved to help create them. Something I've noticed with the kiddos who, like I said, I believe have the PDA, we do something new, it works beautifully the first week or two. It's new, the kid got the buy-in, we had them sign their little behavior contract, they helped us make that token chart, they went up to the prayer, they helped laminate, we put on the Velcro, it was a big fun event. First 2 weeks, it's amazing, it's a victory, it finally works. Then the third week rolls upon us and it means absolutely nothing. It's a waste of time, the kid could not care less about it. So it's constantly trying to switch things up, get their input. But over the scheme of things, especially over time, it's like, we've been at this a year now. I don't know how to do things differently at this point. And these kids remember everything. So then just trying to always stay one step ahead is exhausting enough as a professional, let alone a parent that has to, every single day at home, this is a situation you have. So little tips and tricks there. And then we got some more. So like I said before, the typical ABA approaches, like the praise, those reward systems, with the PDA kiddos, they don't work that well. They're not the most effective. Just with ABA, it is a lot about the therapist having the control, not the kiddo. So already in that sense, okay, the kiddo's like, no, I'm the one that's in the control, not you. We're about to fight this out now. Setting boundaries. A lot of the kiddos, once again, can see like, oh, so you're trying to tell me when we play outside, I can go past that line of cones? Okay, we'll see what happens when I go outside. I'm going to wait till no one's looking, go running past that line of cones and do a little victory dance over there until someone comes and tells me to get back. Okay, I'll get back. 5 minutes later, I'm on the other side of the cones again. The rewards and consequences. Once again, these kids are smart. They figure out these contingencies so quickly. And then just as quickly, that social manipulation comes in and they know how to change it and just twist it. So that way they end up getting what they want outside of the system. Like I said before, the visual schedules, some kiddos can see that as another form of demand and just that constant reminder, oh, every time I look against that wall, I know what's coming next. It's thrown in my face once again. I don't need you telling me. I see it right there. Now the anxiety peaks. Now I'm focused on next. I'm going to reading. Nope, I'm not going to reading. I'm going to instead go sit up front and hide under the chair. You guys can drag me out. So that was more on the adult side of things, some different ways to intervene. So some strategies to teach your kiddo, which a lot of these adults struggle with. So things that we're trying to teach kiddos to do, a lot of it eventually will come with time, but it's not something that we can, like I would expect a 5-year-old to be able to recognize what strategies they do to avoid things. They just do it. Something happens that they don't like, they know, oh, if I run away, the demand's gone. I'm not in the room anymore. I'm good. But to realize that, why did you run out of the room? Because you didn't want to do this. Why did you not want to do it? Because it's hard, because you don't know. You could get it wrong. You're feeling anxious. There's a lot of adults that can't tell you that they're feeling anxious, let alone having a kid tell us that. And honestly, probably a lot of people won't believe that. If we have little Johnny there who's throwing a fit in class to do a worksheet, he's saying, well, I'm just too anxious right now. I'm too anxious. Do the worksheet. Come on, man. And a lot of times it gets dismissed, even if they were correct in that moment. Teaching the kiddo self-acceptance and self-awareness. It's like, hey, you got to realize this is kind of how it is. Anytime this demand comes in place, anytime you're playing this game and all of a sudden someone else is in charge and not you, you have to realize that that bothers you. And then what are you going to do about it? Are we just going to keep living life that way? Hey, if you want to, just realize you're probably not going to have many friends that want to play with you. If you want kids to play with you, then you have to be able to change and to adapt. The masking component. So masking is a common trait in kiddos with autism, as well as with the PDA. So masking is going to be more so you hide behaviors. So, a common one's going to be the stereotypy. So let's say we have a kiddo who, if they're at home, 7 all day, this makes them feel good, gets out the anxiety. But they know if I do this in the middle of class, now all of a sudden everyone's looking at me. No, I don't want my friends to judge me. I'm just going to sit here and maybe set my hand, do something to not do it. I'm masking that behavior. I'm hiding it. So a lot of these kiddos, they do that. But then to try to have that awareness of, one, I'm masking this because I really want to do this, but I don't want to do this in this setting because I feel like others will judge me. That's such a complex social situation. I mean, most kids in middle school, high school would struggle with that. So especially like young kiddos, the elementary school age, it's hard. It's very hard. So oftentimes it's going to be a parent, it's going to be a teacher that knows them well that's going to point this out to the kiddo. It's like, hey, I know that usually when it's just like us hanging out in the office, you're over here doing this. I never see you do that in class. Why? Oh, I don't want them to make fun of me. Okay, well, what can we do about it? Maybe we can ask for a break. Maybe go to the bathroom. Maybe, instead of doing it up here, maybe how about doing it down here? Does that help? And find different ways. But oftentimes with those little kids, it's going to be someone else having to help coach them through that. Expecting them to come up with that on their own, unlikely. It's probably not going to happen. Sensory regulation. Like kiddos on the spectrum as well, the kiddos with PDA, they do have either hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity. That they either, that light flickering, it's going to bother me, I'm gone. Or I just fell off the playground, my arm's bleeding, whatever, I'm fine. I'm just going to keep on going about life. That they either underreact or overreact to various sensory input. So a lot of our kiddos, they like that sensory. It could be something as simple as a Chewy. We have this really cool blackout tent that the kids today, we literally have them in art choosing to wait in line for 3 minutes. So you've got 3 minutes in this tent at a time. A line of 5 kids waiting, not playing with the toys because they just wanted to spend 3 minutes in this tent. I couldn't tell you what they did. It's pitch black. It's like the size of this table, but they loved it. Yes. They absolutely loved it. It was unexpected, but cool. It's like, okay, guys, just one at a time. That's all we can say. One at a time, not having 2 kids in here. But I gave them a type of sensory regulation.
Can I jump real quick on that one? Because for a lot of parents that don't have access to a sensory deprivation tent, clothes baskets work amazing for our little ones. When we're in an elementary setting where they don't understand how to vocalize this is your safe space. We were just talking with families, whether it's a financial impact. If you have a laundry basket, allow the child to have the laundry basket. I speak that from Loki's own experience all the way until his teens. He had a box. I'm not joking. I can tell you it was the Home Depot box. And don't mess with it. He put a light inside of it. I'm not joking. When he got big enough, he could only fit this part of his torso in it. But I would walk into his room, and he's in the box. He put a pillowcase on it, and he has a light on the inside. But it was the same thing, that it was his space. Yeah. He didn't have to vocalize it. It was a safe space. It's my space. I don't need to tell mom. I don't need to share it with anybody. This is my space for me. And just having that sometimes can de-escalate from an outburst, because you can trigger them to say to the brothers and sisters that may be neurotypical to be like, when Johnny is over in his space, leave him alone. Yep. If you go and touch Johnny while he's in his space, that's not Johnny's problem. If he hauls off and knocks you out, well, what did you do? It's that causality. And that's where the shaping comes in place, that the kids then start to know, well, I have this space that's free for me. It's the same thing that we did. And that's why they love that black tent. Yes. And guys, I'm telling you, it's a $19.99 tent you can get on Amazon. And that's what she's saying. The kids waited, and it's completely a blackout tent. It's just a little, remember when they were kids and they had you could crawl through, and I'm talking about, guys, the ones you can never pop back down and get it in that wonderful little container that you could just carry with you. Yeah, hell with that. That doesn't work.
No, we couldn't retry.
Right. We cannot. But it's still just that space. Yeah. And that's what I'm hearing, watching you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the difference between ASD and this PDA that is coming out is control, sensory, but lack of regulation, that they can't vocalize and sometimes don't even know. Yeah. I mean, I would agree with you. I'm anxious. I've not met a teacher today that hasn't heard that between I'm having anxiety, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, if they can vocalize.
Yeah.
And you are 100% right. It is completely just looked over.
If
And
you're
so-
a kid, you can't feel that way.
So then remember that most of the time then our kids have already been trained in that program that whether you're in a private school, public school, remember that's learned behavior. So if they're already shutting down, teach them how to use that voice, whether it's for you so you can advocate for them, or because most of the time the teachers with 25 kids in a classroom have heard it from everyone. And so you need to be like, no, he's actually stating that to you so that you are aware. Are you aware of what's going on in your classroom, or do you got too much going on for you not to be aware? And it's okay for us to say that as parents.
Totally good. Make sure I didn't skip anything on my notes. I think we're doing good. Yeah, so with that, the sensory regulation, it's a big component. Kind of like we said before, awareness of those triggers that set you off. And it could be too that, I like to think everything's on a spectrum. We have anxiety's on a spectrum. So it could be when I'm feeling this level of anxiety, it doesn't matter. Someone looks at me, I'm set off. If I'm more in the middle, I can handle the looks. I'm good. My anxiety's not too bad. But if all of a sudden I get told nope, that sets me off. And I'm at this, then I'm not feeling anxious. I'm chill. I'm content. Everything's good. I can pretty much handle anything. Just don't cut me off in traffic. Then I'm going to lose it at that point. It's knowing what triggers you in what setting and what state of anxiety, and other states as well. It could be, not just anxiety. It could be depression. It could be tiredness. There's another one. If you're hungry, if you're thirsty, all those different things already kind of up the ante, put you on edge that much more, that you can tolerate that much less. So trying to be aware of that. And then lastly, coping skills. Coping skills are going to be different for everyone. They're going to change over time. It could be, hey, 2 months ago, taking those deep breaths, that worked for me. It was great. Now, you know what? I'm used to it. It could be muscle memory. It could just be the habit. It could be that expectation that it's worked before. It's not novel anymore. Will it still work? It could not work anymore. So coping skills are things that can change over time. I have one kiddo that just about every 2 to 3 weeks, we have to use a different phrase for what type of breaths we'll take. One day it's a balloon breath. Great. Next day we said the word balloon breath and that's with a lot of meltdown. Heart breaths now. It's still working. It's starting to go for the heart breaths. Now we got to find a bunny breath. I forget the word that they use. Something like a bunny breath. Okay, whatever works, I'm cool with it. And with the coping skills, it depends on how you feel what coping skill is going to work. So if anyone's ever seen The Zones of Regulation, it's a really cool book. It was written actually by an OT. Back when I lived in Tallahassee, this was the behavior management strategies that the Tallahassee public school system used as their behavior management strategy. But it's cool. It's a good book. I recommend it. Social Zones of Regulation. And with it, it teaches you that, hey, when you're feeling, super happy, you're elated, your team just won the Super Bowl, life is amazing. A coping skill that you'd use to get back to baseline is going to be totally different than when you're heightened because a hurricane just destroyed your house. So it could be, hey, when you're feeling so elated, you're out of control, coping skill to get me back down is I'm just going to go outside and run some laps. Okay, that gets me back down to baseline. I'm good to go now. If a hurricane just destroyed my house, running laps isn't going to get me back to baseline. Get me back to baseline, it's going to be okay. Take some deep breaths. Call and talk to my mom. That's going to get me back down to a baseline level. And so realizing different emotions, different feelings, different states, different coping skills will work based on those states. It's not going to be that, hey, every time, you're feeling any type of heightened emotion, taking deep breaths is going to work for you. It's going to change and vary. Also, as I said before, probably going to say this whole time, expecting a kid to know that is unrealistic. As adults, I feel like I barely know that for myself, and I'm 34. So expecting a kiddo to know that, it's hard. You'd have to pretty much journal and write things down. I felt this way, I did this was the outcome. Do that over time to see the patterns and the consistency, but then also knowing, hey, I have it written down, I've got myself figured out. 6 months later, totally is probably going to change. And you're a different person. You're constantly growing and adapting. So just always have to be flexible with things. So these are quotes from, like I was saying, the PDA Society website from people who fit the PDA profile. Can't say anyone has a diagnosis because they can't. These are just some different, like I said, different quotes of how they feel. It's like PDA is like trying to face your phobias every waking moment, just in a constant state of anxiety all the time, and then trying to navigate life when you don't understand what anxiety is. This is just how you feel. Why do other people not feel this way? How am I supposed to sit in class and listen when all I'm thinking about is when I go home, I have to wash the dishes, I have to do this, I have to do this. I'm supposed to sit there and listen, but then my friend's sitting next to me, I kind of want to talk to them, but now I have to do my work. Oh, now I just got in trouble because I wasn't paying attention. Oh, now I'm done. This is too much. I'm out. My desk is flipped. Let's go. This is something I can control. I know if I flip the desk, I get taken out of class. I can get escape from whatever is causing me all this anxiety in the moment. Like another one, although I'm acting angry, what I feel is terror, and afterwards, I don't remember what I've done. Seen this with some kiddos before. Once they reach that point of no return, they see red. They don't remember what happened after. It's like you can't reason, you can't be logical. You just have to wait, get over that, start to de-escalate. Okay, now we can talk again. Now we can work things through. But to try to imagine being in that state, that heightened state all the time, that's miserable. That would be awful. So it's definitely keeping that in the back of your mind that these kiddos aren't acting out. They aren't having these behaviors, having these meltdowns just for the fun of it. There's a reason why, and we may not often see what that reason is.
Hey, see, second one from the top really caught my attention.
That was
saying that I don't do it on purpose. Have they noticed, is there any kind of tick factor, any kind of neurological?
They haven't, it's kind of like autism. They haven't really found like, if you do this brain map, this area lights up in this condition, so this is what you have. It's more situational based. It could be like, it just varies so much. And a lot of the reports that we have, like these are all adults. So they're thinking back when they were kids. When they're adults now, they already have some of those coping skills in place. They have 20 plus years of history that they know how to navigate.
Like learning systems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good question.
There's a correlation of a lot of other factors that children and adults can have the effects or characteristics on behavior. Like, for example, kids that or people that lack certain things growing up, like abuse, neglect, can have symptoms or characteristics that fall into. So there's a lot of factors. There's even correlation with connective tissue disorder and finding with people with autism and ADHD, which there's just so much. And all broad. And then like all the different correlations that you can find. We already talked correlation, not causation. Like we're seeing a lot of the patterns. There has to be something more. Yeah, definitely agree with you on that one.
Great topics.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, the PDA, this has been something. Actually, one of our parents introduced me to it about 5, 6, 7.
Was it that long ago?
I feel like it was COVID days.
Was that long
Yeah. Yeah, 6 or 7 years ago is when I first found out about this, and it makes so much more sense for some of our kiddos, I gotta say, than the autism. And it makes you have that more sympathetic approach. It's like, hey, you're not just doing this to be defiant. You're not trying to be malicious. It's that because you can't. Because you're so heightened that all you can do is escape. The only ways you can escape are going to that extreme level. So in summary, I'm a firm believer, Bill and I were actually just talking about this, radical behaviorist. Nothing is random. There's always a cause to a behavior. It may be that, hey, we don't see the cause. It may not be something that's, logical, but there's a reason why. It could be that, hey, I was thinking about a scary movie I saw over 3 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden I had the thought of the one scene that scared me. Now I'm already scared. Now someone walks past me and they bump into me. That scares me more. Oop, I hit them. Be like, why do you hit Johnny? He's your friend. He just bumped into you. And then you can't explain that. It's tricky. Sometimes the reason for a behavior can be fully internal. We don't see it. There's random moments that, a kid just starts popping off in class and we have no idea why. It may not be, we didn't miss anything. There was nothing externally for us to see. Something has happened internally. Like I know the other week I was driving in my car, I thought of something funny. I started to laugh to myself. My daughter in the back seat's like, "What's funny? Why are you laughing?" Like, I thought of something funny I saw last week, And she's like, "Why? What was it?" It's like, I honestly don't even remember now. It was like a thought. I laughed. I moved on. I didn't even realize that I laughed. So little things like that. We all do it. So first things I found helpful from doing all the research is that you have to realize what those physical symptoms are. So that's at least something we can help with. So if I see Johnny sitting there in class, I'll say, he's getting antsy, start to see the fidgets a little bit, maybe his palms are getting sweaty, starts tapping a pencil. Those are physical signs that, hey, you're starting to get more anxious. We're starting to escalate a little bit. Once I can see those, I can then point them out to you to make you realize, like, hey, when I start tapping my foot a little bit, my hands are feeling sweaty, I start talking fast, I start feeling fidgety, I'm looking around a lot. That means that I'm getting more anxious, I'm getting more heightened. Realizing those triggers as well, like I was saying, all ties hand in hand. And then focus on the appropriate coping skills. So like I said, if you're feeling hungry and you're just hangry, a lot of people get hangry. We know that's a thing. So it doesn't matter how many times I tell you to take a deep breath or ask for a walk, ask for a break, go talk to someone. The only thing that's going to fix the issue is giving you a Snickers bar, for example.
That's a good answer.
Thank you. I know, that just came out on the spot. Hungry Snickers bar. So you have to match, the coping skill has to fit whatever symptom, emotion you're feeling. But also knowing, especially our kiddos, they're not going to be able to tell us 90% of the time. So then it's on us as the professionals, as the caregivers, as the teachers, as the parents, to know them and to realize and to work as a team to all be on the same page. So then lastly, I think I'm on my questions. Yes. So here are some nice, easy questions for you guys. If you can fill these out, and this will count as the parent training.
And for those of us joining online later, these questions will also be on the circle. So if you don't fill them out here, or if you say to somebody else, hey, this is a great parent training